Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we're going to be going through my round 2 AFL tips plus predictions for round 2 of the 2024 season. So yeah, please do like and subscribe and hope you enjoy. Before we start any tips, as usual, we are going to go through the reviews of last round. I'm actually happy with my performance from round 1. It was obviously a very good round. Lots of thrilling games. Some were thrashings, but lots of thrilling. So to kick us off, I went with the Blues by 43. Thought it would be much closer, but credit to Richmond. You know, they stuck around all game, and I think they even had like a 15-point lead. Or like a 3-goal lead at one stage. Yeah, they just look really good. But unfortunately, the Blues got the job done if you're a Richmond supporter. And I know that the Blues have won like their last 6 games. Their last 6 wins have been under a kick. So yeah, really could have gone either way, but credit to Carlton there. I went with the Pies by 6. Sydney got it done a bit of an upset. I was sort of expecting this, this was a pretty much 50-50 game. And yes, the Pies do go 0-2. So, yeah, the Premiers go 0-2. So that's the second year in a row now where the Premiers have gone 0-2. Hopefully they can go 0-3 against my Saints. But yeah, don't get the correct scoreline for that nor the tip. And I went with the Bombers by 13. This one was pretty much bang on. They actually won by 24. So, yeah, I was sort of expecting this. Hawthorn again. They still played pretty good. This was sort of a high-scoring game. It shows you that the Bombers, maybe they could make the 8 this year. Some people are underrating Essendon, I think. And you just look at their list and you can go, well, they can do lots of good things with that list. And Brad's got the most of them in this game. So, yeah, the Bombers won by 24 there. I went with the Giants by 25. Thought it would be a lot closer. I still thought this one was a pretty good game. I was actually watching this game for most of... I was watching this for the most of the game. But the Giants actually won by 39. Again, a pretty high-scoring one. North's ability to score. I think North actually took it down to 6 points during that... sort of at the end of the second quarter. So, yeah, credit to North, but Giants just too good in the end. And unfortunately, my Saints went down to the Cats. I just thought that Geelong are tough. We haven't won there for like 30 years. When I said it, we haven't won there for 10 years, I got that wrong. We actually haven't won there for like 30 years. Been so long. I just thought that maybe the Cats would get it done. Unfortunately, we go on one. Credit to the Catch. However, I am sort of happy since I do get my tip right and the scoreline, even though I didn't want to win that one. But yeah, credit to the Cats there. I went with the Suns by 10. So again, I had a very good Saturday night. I got very close and I got the margin correct too. So I got the tip and the margin correct. Adelaide only had scored like 8 at halftime, and Gold Coast only scored like 14 in the second half. Then Adelaide, in like that last quarter, I think they kicked 5 goals to narrow it down to a 6-point lead. They were trailing by, I think, 34. So again, the Suns almost choked, but they just hold on. Then we move on to the Sunday. Went the Dogs by 15. Thought they could cause a bit of an upset. I actually thought that the Dogs were horrible. I thought not horrible, but for the first half they were fine. But just in the end, how they gave up all those goals was just, you can't do that as a footy side. Now, I know Melbourne maybe are a good team, obviously. Clayton Oliver had a good game. And, yeah, maybe we are just underrating the Ds a bit. But, yeah, I thought it was really poor from the Dogs in the second half. And, yeah, it's why you just can't have Bever as your coach, unfortunately. But, yeah, the Dogs still stuck around for the first half, but really poor second half there. Melbourne thrashed them by 45. Then we went over to another game. I mean, West Coast played all right, but Port getting it done by 50. I thought it would be close since it is the start of the year for both clubs. I thought the West Coast would be a bit more competitive. Therefore, Port won by 50. They kicked 24 behind, so if they had been just a couple more goals accurate, it would have been 80-plus win. And then the upset in Perth happened. Again, this was sort of like the Collingwood-Sydney one. I could see Fremantle winning, probably not. So I went with the Lions by 7, but they caused an upset. Credit to them. They gave like their first goals away from free kicks. Freo, they were trailing by like 13 at quarter time. Then they came back, just won the game, took control and pretty much dominated. So yeah, credit to Freo. Let's get into the tips. And to start off round 2, let's kick it off. In what I think will be a good game, we get the primetime slot against the reigning premiers. Now, both grand finalist teams are 0-2, Brisbane and Collingwood, but let's touch up on Collingwood. they were really disappointing against Sydney. You know, they just looked like they got exposed. I just think that Sydney handled the ball better. I think that their transitions around the ball were better. I think they got it from their back 50 to their forward 50 much better than Collingwood. So, yeah, the Saints, on the other hand, disappointing loss to Geelong. I wasn't too disappointed in us that game. But yeah, we just couldn't get it done as usual down at Geelong. They're always too good for us. I thought that Tim Membry had a pretty good game, that 50-metre bomb. Nice goal. He got 2 or 3, I think. And but what I'm really looking forward to is our young talent like Briley Bonner, the back line without Sinclair. We still look pretty good with him. And Darcy Wilson, 2 goals, 1. I'm just really excited for our young talent and our future. My heart really says St Kilda. I actually think that we can make this game close and not if win it. But my head just tells me the Pies. I just feel like 2. I know this is a Spuds game, and I think we're 0-3 for Spuds games. We can never get it done for Spud. I'm going to go with Collingwood to win here. I think this one's going to be a close one, though. I'm going to go with Collingwood to take it right down to the wire. I think the Saints can hang around. Last year we hang around in gather round, and we only made it a 6-point game, so a goal. You know, I'm going to make this under a kick. I think we'll play a good game because I don't think Collingwood will come out and thrash us necessarily, but I think Collingwood should bounce back. If they go on 3, that would be just embarrassing. It'll be sort of interesting. I do hope my Saints get up. I'm still yet to tip them this year, just like last year. I didn't tip them until round 3, so I don't know, yeah, but I feel like Collingwood will get it done. But my heart's actually telling me St Kilda, and this one won't be any more than I can tell you about 20 points. So, yeah, Collingwood by 4. Next, we move up to a game that I wasn't expecting to be on Friday night. At the Adelaide Oval, we have the Crows taking on the Cats. Now, the Crows were just disappointing. Yeah, they came back in that fourth quarter, made only 6 points, but I actually didn't get to really watch that game. But they only had 8 at halftime. I know there was wet conditions. No one was out for Adelaide, so they had no excuses. They just looked poor. And, you know, Dimmer's Suns, they just looked way better. Meanwhile, Geelong, on the other hand, got a gutsy, close win against the Saints to kick off their season and go 1-0. Could Geelong just be that finals team? Now, I say this again, I think they will. This is why, because they can beat sides like the Saints at home. They just make their ground such a home ground advantage, and they just make it like they go undefeated there, so they can beat a few top 8 sides there. This one, I actually think this one will be a close game, but considering it's at the Adelaide Oval, I sort of have the Crows to bounce back a bit. I think this is going to be close, but I think Adelaide are going to get it done by... Well, actually, no. I think Adelaide will get it done by 22. I think this one should be a close one. I don't think it'll be that close, but I think Geelong will stick around. But I just think the Crows, if they go 0-2, there's going to be massive talks where everyone's bullish. If they go 0-2... pretty much they're in danger of... They're a very good chance to not make the finals, the Crows. So they need to win this one against a poor Geelong side. So, yeah, I'm going to tip the Crows by 22, but I think Geelong will make it close. Moving on to Saturday Arvo now. We have North taking on the Dockers. Now, the Dockers, let's touch up on them. They had a very good win over the Lions, who choked of a very good first quarter lead. They caused the upset win. Caleb Sarong, he had 46 touches. He overtook Andrew Brayshaw for the most touches in the game for Freo, I'm pretty sure. Fremantle played a pretty good brand there. Credit to them, they just came out and dominated from after that first quarter, from the word go after that first quarter. Meanwhile, North, on the other hand, they played alright against GWS. I thought, considering that GWS had just demolished Collingwood by 32, you know, they made it a 39-point game, and you can definitely see that their ability to score, you know, they kicked 8 goals 0. They are a very accurate side in front of goal, and I think they'll be in the top 8 for that this year, but I just can't see Freo losing to this game. I know they lost it at home against North last year. I actually think this is going to be close. I'm going to go Freo by only 7. I know that will piss a few Freo fans off. They're probably expecting a bigger win, but I think North just will make it close. And against Marvel, you just never know. But I just think that Freo are that better side. And, you know, if Sarong can have a good game, you know, Jai Amos, if he can kick a few, I just think that Freo are a much better side at Dockland, so they probably deserve to win this one. So, yeah, I'll go with the Dockers by 7. Moving on now to Hawthorn at Melbourne at the MCG. This one should be another cracking contest, even though the Hawks did look pretty... they didn't look poor, but they were in the game for most of it, really, against the Bombers. It was just in that after the second half, Bombers pulled away a bit. And Melbourne, a very convincing win over the Western Bulldogs. That first half was a bit sloppy from the D's, but, you know, again, like the 2021 grand final, they just pulled away. I don't know what it is against the Dogs. They just seem to always thrash them and just, I don't know, they just have a knack of beating the Dogs. But I think this is going to be close. And you've got to tip upsets sometimes. Now, this one, it's you never know with the Hawks. You got to tip upsets sometimes. I'm going with the Hawkers to win this one by 9 points. Now, I think I tipped them last year at the MCG against Melbourne, but I'm doing it again. I actually think that the Hawks should get a win. I think they could possibly go for 0-5, though, if they don't win this game, because if you look at their fixture, I remember looking at it, it's tough, I can't remember. I think they could go 0-5 if they do not win this game. But I just feel like Sammy Mitchell is a bit fired up after that performance last week. I think for Melbourne, credit to them against the Dogs. But I'm actually going to have to go with the Hawks here to go with a 9-point win. Now, I know I said Melbourne would make the top 4, and I haven't tipped them 3 games in, but I just think that the Hawks are just not a better side, but I just think that they're able to cause upsets sometimes, the Hawks. So, yeah, Hawks by 9. Now, at the SCG, we have the Swans taking on the Bombers. I can actually see this one being close, even though it is at the SCG. Sydney start off the season 2-0, and I say that I'm putting my hands up to admit I was wrong about Sydney this season. I know they haven't made the finals yet. It's only round 2, but they are looking pretty good. You know, their list is just looking good. 2-0. I think they're pretty much a lot for the finals either way. They'll just have to escape injuries, even though they're just 2-0. I just think that they're a good side. Essendon, on the other hand, a very nice win over Hawthorn to kickstart their season. Now, I am going to go with the Swans here to get a win. I think this one could be a close game. I think Essendon can stick around for a bit, but I'm going to go with the Swans to win by 21. I just think that their force at the SCG is just so good. I'm going to go tip Sydney to go 3-0 and probably be on top of the ladder after this. So I'm going to tip Sydney by 21 again. I think Essendon can stick around, but I just think that Sydney are a far better side than the Bombers so far. But yeah, 21-point win. So, moving on now, at Ballarat, we have the Dogs taking on the Suns in what should be, again, I know I'm saying these games are going to be all close and that, but I actually think that this is going to be a very good round, because you look at it, the Suns are 2-0, meanwhile Dogs are 0-1. I think that the Dogs, they play at Ballarat, they'll be looking to come back and firing, but you just cannot go past the way that the Gold Coast Suns have started. Yes, it was a bit unconvincing in the end for the Suns, almost choked again, but I think, you know, you should be beating these sides when you're at home, especially Richmond. They did, so, you know, they have a very easy fixture. They have the easiest fixture in the comp this year, the Suns. But, you know, you just never know. The Dogs at Ballarat, it's not really a force, but, you know, usually they do win there. I think they've won their last, 4 at Ballarat. So, yeah, the Dogs are a very tough side to beat at Ballarat. I remember against the Crows last year, everyone was running the Dogs off. Came out and won by 40 points when the Crows were really hot. So, I'm going to go, this is going to be interesting, but I feel like the Dogs start 0-2. It's just going to be another poor start for the Dogs, and I don't see them really. I could see them making finals, but just an 0-2 start. They don't want to have the same year again. I'm going to go with the Dogs by 5. This one should be a nice close one, but I just think at home the Dogs are back. If they do not win this game, it's just going to be a disappointment, but, you know, there's going to be talks around Bevo. Now, I know this is a red-hot Suns side, but that could come up and upset them here, but I'm going to go with the Dogs by 5 in a thriller. So, next up, we move on to Port v Richmond at the MCG. Now, Richmond last week, if you're a Richmond fan, you should be pretty happy with the win, even with the loss, even though it was only 5 points, and even though Carlton's last 6 wins have been under a goal, you'd still be happy, you know, considering all of that, and they probably could have won the game if they just had got it out in their forward half. Meanwhile, Port, they got a nice win over West Coast, a 50-point win. I wasn't expecting them to win by that much. They probably should have won by more with the amount of scoring shots they had. I think this one's going to be a cracking game. I actually think Richmond can make it close, but even though it is at the MCG, I just think that Port are the better side here. I'm going to go with Port by 26. I just think that Port, they don't play the best footy against Richmond, but I just think that they are the far stronger side. And I'm sorry, Richmond fans, but I'm tipping against you guys. And I'm going to make Richmond go 0-3. I'm not bullish on Richmond this year. I tipped them against the Suns, but that's probably the only game I'm going to really tip them for the whole year unless they play a North or a West Coast or another side. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Port by 26 to win this one. So next up, we move on to Optus Stadium, 3:50 time slot again. I actually really like those time slots. I know it does delay bounce and First Crack, which are two shows I love. Who doesn't love tuning into bounce and then just after watching First Crack? Yeah, the Eagles last year, I remember watching it at my friend's house. They actually won the game by 19 points. My friend was happy. The Giants, they're 2-0 on the other hand, so some are saying this is going to be a demolishing. I sort of think that too. I am going to go with the Giants, and I do not know why when you tip the Giants, it's green. They're not a green team. I'm going to go with the Giants by 62. I just think that West Coast didn't play their best band against Fort. Now, I know Harley Reid is here, but the Giants should really be picking up a 10-goal win. At Optus, though, West Coast can still stick around, and I'm actually going to make a big call last game of the round. Why not? And I'm going to say that in this one, both sides score above 75 points. So that means the Giants, yet again, are going to kick above 135 points. I just think that they're at the high scoring side, and so are West Coast, to be fair. I think this game's going to be interesting if Jesse Hogan to have a great game, and this time Toby Green, I'm not saying he had a quiet game, but just wasn't really there. So I'm going to tip the Giants here by 62. Them to go 3-0 and for the two Sydney teams to still remain on top of the ladder. Anyways, that's going to wrap up this video. We do still have buys for Richmond and Carlton, obviously. I don't like opening round. This is what happens. We see buys in the early parts of the season, then that's just one extra game gone. I do not like that. Bring back the mid-season buy, or even get rid of the mid-season buys for teams and just scrap opening round. Seriously, just put it in with Gather Round. Anyways, that's going to wrap up this video. If you did enjoy, please do hit the like, subscribe button. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video.